Hey everybody, welcome to Shooting the with Yankee. As usual, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Remember, this segment is so that your opinions can be heard. If you want your opinion heard on this video or any of the videos we do on one of the topics we do, come to the live chats. We do them every night, 6 p.m., except for Wednesdays when they're at 7 p.m. Come on in, weigh in. Let's hear what you think. Tonight's topic is, what is the one current 2A infringement on your Second Amendment rights that exists today that you'd like to see go away? If you could choose one law, one restriction, one regulation, whatever, and make that go away, what would it be? Now, I don't mean general things like a whole act. You know, I mean, like if you we're looking at the NFA, what would be the one thing you'd get out of there? Like get out the tax stamp thing, make that disappear for suppressors, get rid of the fully automatic ban. What would be one thing you'd get rid of? Now, me personally, I think the biggest 2A infringement that I would get rid of, and I'm going to differ from a lot of people on this, is background checks, the 4473. I think that's probably the biggest infringement on our rights, because not only is that saying, hey, you got to prove you can exercise your Second Amendment rights. We're going to make you jump through hoops, which I don't think anyone should do. If you're not a threat to society, if you're not as big enough threat to society to be in prison, well, then you have your rights. So I don't like it for that reason, but I also don't like it because it is a registration backdoor. They at all times have all the information on every person and every gun they have that's been bought through an FFL, which is where most guns have to come from now. So that's the one thing I get rid of, the background checks, the 4473s. That'd be the first thing. I'm not saying that's the only thing that should go, but that would be the first thing I would get rid of if I could wave a wand tomorrow and get rid of one thing. But like I said, I want to hear what you all think. So let's go over here to the live chats and see what other people have to say. I need to turn my volume off here. That's very loud. DM Faust, that's old Mr. Fat Salami. Worst infringement, no gun for adults 18 to 20 years old. Yes, that's a big infringement. I almost said that one, but then I saw you said it, and I'm like, I don't want to copy him. I don't want people think I'm copying off old Fat Salami. But yes, I agree. It's a shame that we say you can die for your country and you can choose the country's leaders, but we can't trust you with a gun. Well, which is it? You can't trust them, or you can. If they're not good enough to exercise their rights, then they're not good enough to go overseas and die so that you can oil the wheels of your industrial complex with the blood of poor kids. So I don't like that. And I know, groups want them to vote because they're easily manipulated, but it's either or. Either they're adults at 18 or they're adults at 21, or like I would like it, adults at 35. Practical Bacon weighed in and said different age requirements or waiting periods. Waiting periods would be one thing I would love to see get rid of. We got a 10-day waiting period here in the state of Washington, and recently a judge did rule that waiting periods are unconstitutional, and that a group in Maryland is likely to prevail based on the Bruin decision fighting against a 3-day waiting period there. So I'm hoping that makes it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court agrees so that we can get rid of the waiting periods here. Mr. Furley weighed in and said mag limits. You shoot someone 10 times, but not 14. Well, yeah, I'd never have liked mag limits either, because here's the thing. How hard is it to tape two magazines together and take 1/2 a second to change them? Just because you have less, one 20-round mag or 2 10s, I've never seen any evidence that is going to save a single life, period. It doesn't. And here's the thing. Every time they try to propose that, you hear these senators and congressmen, and this is no joke, well, someone can tackle them and take them down in that 5 minutes it takes to reload their magazine. And I'm like, wait, they think you have to load magazines one bullet at a time. You can't just have them preloaded. Right? They don't understand guns at all, but they just say what they're told to say by Bloomberg. Edgar Cortez said the lack of interstate reciprocity on CHL rights. I don't know if that counts as a restriction to be lifted, but it's a law I would definitely like to see enacted. I would like to see reciprocity for carry permits. If you can carry in your state, You should be able to carry in every state. Now, a better solution would be, I believe Thomas Massey, is that who just introduced it, a bill for national constitutional carry. That would be actually better. But I would also settle right now. I'd be considered a first good step to get national reciprocity on your carry permits. Mike D, one is too many, shall not be infringed. Well, I think he means one infringement is too many, not taking away just one is too many. But if we lose one, that's too many. No, that's not what he means. He just doesn't want to play because he couldn't think of nothing. He's old. His brain ain't working. Johnny Mandrake said, waiting periods and semi-auto rifle bans. What do you people not understand about one? Is it just me, or does it seem like a lot of viewers can't count? I swear, these people, like I said, herding cats. But yes, both of those waiting periods, that's one I hate. Definitely. I hate going in and buying a gun and then have to wait 2 weeks to get it. And plus, that's a big strain on the retailers. They got to keep that inventory. They have to have special ways they have to store it. They have to keep that space, occupied with guns they've already sold. They can't replace it, so it's a pain in the ass, not only for the buyer, but the seller as well. And as far as semi-auto rifle bans, yes, those are ridiculous. Like, certain semi-automatic rifles are dangerous and certain aren't. Yeah, that's so ridiculous. Like my Mini 14 ain't dangerous, but my AR is. What sense does that make? Jeff Patterson, and he's an elder in the Church of Phil, so everybody pay some respect. There are several elders in here, but I want SBR SBS. So yeah, he wants the regulation gone regarding barrel lengths, and I agree. I think that should go away definitely. Of course, we all want to see the entire NFA gone. Well, not everybody. There's a lot of people think that there's a lot of people even in the gun community that are okay with some restrictions because they don't want certain people having certain things. But yes, SBRs, SBS should be things you should be able to have right away. Like, I'd love to have a little SBS. I've always wanted a short barreled shotgun. I'd like to have that triple shot shotgun. There's one that's cut down to a little shorty. I'd love to have that. Would love to have it. But it's made in Turkey, so I'd have to find it used. I ain't found a good one used yet. Mark Calkins chimed in and said, the biggest infringement on 2A rights is the requirement of any kind of permit to carry. It's essentially a tax to exercise a protected right. Exactly. And how many times did you have to carry a permit with you if you want to speak your mind against the government? Like, if you stand outside City Hall with a sign and say, this government's corrupt, do they come up and say, let's see your permission to do that, to speak your mind? No, not if it's just you speaking your mind. Not if you're going to have a rally or something. They often have a permit. I don't like that either. I don't like having to have a rally to have a permit to have a rally. Rallies, if they happen spontaneously, should be legal. And like I said, I think we should have national constitutional carry. Benjamin 356. That's one less than being perfect, I guess. Pistol registration permits are the biggest infringement to me. I hate having to ask permission to own a handgun in the People's Republic of New York. Yes, that is not one we all face, but that's definitely a terrible one. Like, you have to let us know exactly what you have, and you got to have permission to have that specific gun. Just any type of permission to buy or anything, like the FOID card in Illinois. I'd be glad to see that go. We just had a woman had her charges against her for owning a gun without a FOID card dropped because the government said, can't enforce this. Bruin doesn't allow it. So hopefully we'll see that going away. Peter D said, biggest infringement is the 4473. That's what I said. Free men do not need permission to bear arms. I agree 100%. See, there's a reason I like Peter D. He's smart. Ghost Shadow said, how many anti-gun laws would vanish if the NFA was gone? Good Lord, there's lots of them. That's probably the single greatest infringement, the NFA. I can't think of any other single act that is more a violation of our Second Amendment rights than the NFA. That's why every day that Donald Trump isn't actively trying to get rid of the NFA is a day that he's turning his back on the gun community, as far as I'm concerned. Because this is our one chance to get that taken away, and he doesn't seem to be putting any effort into it. Had to turn it into a get the Trumpers mad thing. John Baloney Jr. says mandated training for a PTC and purchase permits. Yeah, two things, but still. Well, I guess it's kind of one thing, mandatory training requirements. I don't live in a state that has mandatory training. They're trying to add it now. One of the things they're trying to pass this year. But I don't like mandatory training requirements. All that is a giveaway to trainers and all this other stuff. And they love it. You'd be surprised how many people that are supposedly real big pro 2A people who I think everybody should be trained to be able to have a gun, especially they should have to go pay for it. That's just a big infringement. And it's a roadblock for people who can't otherwise afford it, who might barely be able to afford a gun and ammo, if that. They can't afford to go buy training and take time off work to go take it and all this other stuff. That's just saying poor people can't have guns, which is a lot of the laws. Used to be they passed a lot of laws that without saying it said that black people can't have guns. Now it's poor people can't have guns. And it's not even just poor people now. Most of the laws say if you're middle class or below, you can't have guns. You got to be in the top 3%, preferably 1%, if you want to be able to own a gun. 3% to own a gun, 1% if you want to own multiple. We just dodged that bullet here in the state of Washington. Mikey D seems to be the last one weighing in here. He says, well, if you're in Illinois, the FOID BS. And yes, we touched on the FOID. Hopefully the FOID will eventually go away because, like I said, even liberal judges are now saying we can't charge people under this. We can't do it. I mean, there's just no way we can enforce this. There's no way we can convict somebody because the FOID system in itself is wholly unconstitutional under the Bruin decision. So hopefully that's on the way to going away. We will see. It takes time, but we'll see. And like I said, we aren't getting any help from politicians, so the courts are basically our best chance right now. Even the ones like Massey and stuff that put forward these pro-gun things, you don't see them out there on stumping for it. You don't see them on TV calling for it. You don't see the president backing them up saying, hey, everybody needs to get behind Massey's bill. And if you don't, the country's watching. You don't see them doing that because they don't really want to pass them. They just like putting them out there so you think they're doing something. Until I see them actually pass one, I will not change my opinion on that. But that looks like that's it for tonight. Thanks to everybody who weighed in. We had multiple people weighing in tonight. I appreciate it. So thanks for letting your voices be heard. And like I said at the beginning of the chat, if you're someone who wants your voice heard, come to one of our chats. We do them every night, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. Come in, have your say. And if you can do all kinds of topics, we do different topics every night. So come on in, be prepared or not. I'm often not prepared. And let us know what you think. Hope to see you to chat soon. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.